Hello guys, this is Zzar. Welcome to this guide for all the bosses in Hellraised or Inferno or Hell or whatever you want to call them. Unlike most of my videos, this is one of those where I put a little bit extra effort into it, and this is going to be quick fights in the sense that it's sped up and voiced over with all the tactics that you need to know. It's not really hard, most of it, but just in case. And you have some menus on the around me here, as you can see, where you can choose which boss fight that you want to see. And there's a little menu in the bottom right corner as well, where you can come back to this screen and choose the whatever fight you want to watch at the time. That's going to be there the whole video. So I hope you find it useful, and if you do, please share it. I like to have my videos viewed, so share the video. Thank you. See you in the boss fights. Here we are with our first boss of the dungeon. Her name is Antimony Ministrix. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. This is a very simple fight. The boss itself is really weak. She has one skill that's called Macro Shock. It doesn't really do anything that you need to concern yourself with. The only thing this fight is about really are those pillars you can see around the room here. It's a basic tank and spank until those pillars starts giving off some white warning circles. Basically, you know, with all the skills in this game, it gives these kind of white warnings ahead of activating something, and it's the same with the pillars. Once you start seeing those moving, you just move clockwise away from them. After a short bit, they will start spewing out some AoE from those pillars, and the important thing there is just to keep running until you don't see the warning circles anymore. They can fight the boss at that point. It'll be a while until the next time they start going off again. So just everyone run clockwise away from it until it stops. That's it. That's the entire fight. The second boss is called Corroder. It's this boss could be, if you don't know what you're doing, it can be terribly hard. But if you do know what he does, it's super easy. Basically, he has this skill called Caustic Outpouring, which is a little bubble AoE thing, and the whole trick there is that you have to move into the boss. It's like a green circle. All you have to do is everyone run in to be within that bubble that he does near himself. You're safe in there. The other thing is he does a cleave, so everyone needs to stay behind him except of course the tank. The tank should be able to handle that. The third thing he does, or that, well, as a part of the fight anyway, is that in the back behind him there's a fire sneaking up along that way that you're fighting him. It just comes closer and closer as you fight. So you should avoid that, of course. It kills you. The best way to do this fight is actually for the group to stay back in the initial pull and let the tank pull the boss up to as far away from where the boss is actually standing initially as possible, around the corner, so to say. This way you can just skip everything. Actually, you can skip all the mechanics that he has. Basically, just pull him up there around the corner. Tank puts him in position. Everyone stands like right up behind him, like 2 feet away from him, but behind him. And that's it. That's where you need to be for the entire fight. If you do it like that, you're fine. You don't need to do anything else. As long as he's far enough away from the fire that you don't have to pull him around later. So just make sure you pull him far enough away from where he's standing to begin with. The third boss is called Hardwired Fleshtank. This fight is a bit harder than the others. It's a bit movement intensive. You have to be on the move most of the time. You're fighting on these platforms. You have a central platform and 4 around it, and some other you can move on as well. And basically you don't want to be standing in between the platforms because it burns, and you also don't want to be standing on the platforms in such situations, namely when he lights them on fire. You can see when he's going to light something on fire, one of the platforms on fire, by the little signal, like it starts burning slightly, like smoke comes out of it and stuff like that. But he won't die from standing there for 2 seconds after it's on fire. So the fight is really all about just seeing which platform is on fire and move to another one. Stand there for a bit until that one's on fire, then move to one that isn't. And that's the fight. If the fight goes on for too long, there is a sort of enrage mechanic here, which is that then all the platforms will be on fire and there's no safe spot. So you need some DPS. It's a little bit of a gear check, this one. Alright, the 4th boss, Traumadriver. It's this boss actually it combines some of the abilities of the previous bosses that you know already. You have the pillars alongside this long hallway here, and they will sort of rotate, activating their AoE around the whole hallway. It takes a while for it to actually do the full rotation. So what I like to do is just attack the boss and then run him all the way to the end of the hallway, as far as you can get. And that way it's easy to see when those pillars are activating alongside the wall as well. They only activate on one side as they do a rotation, so you're safe just putting him on the other side basically, and make sure you don't tank him with his back towards the side of the hallway, but with his back towards the entrance to the hallway or whatever, just so long as your DPSers are able to attack him from behind if you're the tank. Now the other thing he does is he has an attack called Strip Mine, which just is basically he targets a random person in the group and does an attack on them. He announces it with one of those white warning circles, so all you have to do is step out of it. Easy enough. The last thing is he has that fire crawling up the hallway, the same thing as Corroder did. So that's the other reason why you want to move him all the way to the end of the hallway to begin with. Just get him there. You'll eventually have to go there anyway, unless you have like super hot DPS. So as long as you're there to begin with, you're fine. Well, of course, if you have shitty DPS, the fire will catch up to you and you can't escape it and you're dead. Alright, Recursia, the 5th boss. This one is, in my opinion at least, the hardest boss of the dungeon, because she's both a bit of a gear check and technically demanding. As a tank, which is my experience with it, she's strange in the way that you can't pull her, but you can push her. So she will always back away from you, which is something that is useful to know for the later stages of this fight. To begin with, all you need to worry about really is she does an AoE that is very similar to the one that Corroder did, which means that when she does it, you have to, everyone in the group has to crawl up around her inside her little bubble there until she's done doing her AoE. It's golden color and easy to spot. Then every 25% of her HP, she will teleport to the middle and start summoning ads. Those ads, they come out from all over the walls around her. It's a circular room, and they start at the end or the edges of the room. She's placed in the middle. She's immune to damage. You can't do anything to her until all the ads are dead. The ads crawl slowly towards her, and if they reach her, they will explode and do a holy crap load of damage. So your job will basically be to kill all the ads before they can reach her, and that is very important. That happens every 25%. So at 75, 50, and then at 25, that's the third phase. She will do the same thing, but you can damage her that time. At the last 25% you can damage her, and you must damage her. You must use burst damage. You have to get her down as fast as possible. She will move around the same way as she does all the time, and the tank, you have to push her. You have to push her away from where you can see the ads are coming in from, because if they reach her, they explode. So very important. You have to like steer her around in the room until she's dead. And that's basically the fight for you. The sixth and final boss, the Machine Tyrant. This is a fun fight. It's a pretty long fight as well. It's not exceptionally hard. It just takes some movement again. It's a big area, as you can see, and it starts out pretty easy. It gets worse over time. So what you do is attack the guy, and you can see he has this shield on him sometimes, and the tank's job is basically whenever he pops that shield, you have to pull him over to one of those yellow circles on the ground, because that removes his shield. So that's the whole thing with moving him around. It's a bit hard to see when you're a tank, but there's also this sort of this link above him towards the nearest circle. But you have to just scout around for where that circles pop, and whenever you see a circle pop up, you might as well just move him over there to begin with, rather than after his shield pops, because you can't damage him when he has that orange shield around him. Now the other thing he does is he has a skill called Demolish, which is one of your basic white warning circle AoE effects. So just step out of it. Everyone does an AoE knockdown. You can dodge yourself out of that, some active dodging. Then he does these kind of tracing or tracking circles, red ones, like a sniper scope aiming thing. They fly around on the ground, and you have to avoid those too. And there becomes more and more of those. They follow you around a bit, and then they explode. So yeah, it hurts. A lot of people get killed on that. And those are the basic mechanics. Now, after about 50%, I think it is, he starts running to the middle every now and then. And when he does, you run the opposite direction, run to the edges of the room. Because once he gets to the middle, he starts spawning some AoE crap that you don't want to get hit by. And it sort of goes outwards for a bit and then inwards again, and you don't want to get hit by that. And after that's done, it's just fight as normal. Same rules apply as for the rest of the fight. The lower his health gets, the more often he will run to the middle and do that AoE thing. So when you get to like 10% HP on him, he will basically just run back and forth from the middle. So it can be a bit hard to get him down at that point. But that's what the fight is. It's as long as you dodge everything on the ground, dodge all the crap on the ground, and move him around to the circles, and make sure to run out to the sides of the room when he runs to the middle, you're fine. It's not a hard fight. Alright guys, that was it. That was all the bosses. I hope this helped you out. I hope it was useful to you and you liked it. And if you did, please, as I said at the beginning, share it with your friends, with your gaming community on some site you think people might have use of it. I'd be very grateful for that, and I hope to see you around for some other videos on my channel. We do mostly beta tests and comparisons and some reviews and guides, and also some let's plays. So generally, if you like MMOs and like to keep up with what's going on in the MMO world, it's a good place to hang out. Anyways, see you around. Bye bye.